Greetings, magnificent souls, to the Attract Health, Build Wealth podcast, where we have open and honest discussions about ourselves. This is a place where we break down, break away, and break through codependency, allowing ourselves to attract health, build wealth, and live a peaceful life. We are tired of being sick and tired. We are tired, but we are not giving up. We know that there is something magnificent inside of us. And because we are fighting daily, hourly, and by the minute, fighting ourselves, our kids, our spouses, we have to do things differently. We have to break the cycle. We don't have a million chances. We have to be happy now. We have to find a way. So how do we do that? How is that possible? If you look around at what society is telling you, they tell you that what we're doing isn't possible, but it's happening every single day. And it's happening through the practice and the love that we call awakening the magnificent soul. We are all magnificent souls, and these are our stories of healing. Today in episode 33, a super personal and sensitive topic for me that has been showing up and showing out, and that is sex. And what does it have to do with codependency? I just want to take a moment as well to update you on my life, for me, what's been going on lately and why I've been so sporadic about updating my blog and podcasting. The brutal truth is that I am still struggling with codependency. And the more that I think about it, the more I know that this is something that just doesn't go away. And I have always struggled this way, struggled with the intersection of black and white, wanting there to be no gray area ever in my life. So if you're listening, don't be discouraged. I've made so many strides. As we know, for one, I'm not dead, but I don't really think codependency ever goes away. It will always be there. It'll rear its ugly head in the darkest of times, but even so, I deeply feel that it's up to me to work on myself, to put myself first and continue to evolve. So when it does rear up, I remember me and I conquer. As I grow, I'm learning, but lately I've begun to be pulled in the direction again of the dark codependency in which I've been entrenched. In combination with a loss in my family, it's sent me reeling, like striving to quote unquote get back to normal, but normal doesn't always mean healthy, mind you. I do intend to keep putting out more content, and I do intend to let you know how I've been working through everything, but I just wanted to share my epiphanies with you all. So thanks for listening, and thank you for being open to letting me share. And of course, before we get into the discussion, don't forget to let me know your thoughts about this episode, any feedback you have, or anything you'd like me to cover on future podcasts at epiphanyvault.com. And of course, you can share anonymously. It is a safe place, and I would welcome the discussion. So one of the main reasons that I've been quieter than normal on the podcast and have not been putting out weekly episodes is that I am going through another evolution. I can feel it in myself. I feel growth and I feel change. And we know that the first two steps that we talked about before in the codependency cycle is the breakdown and the breakaway. And now I do think that I'm going through the breakthrough. I'm establishing a new life in a new city. I'm making new friends. And in all honesty, I'm in discovering mode, and I'm rediscovering the real me. Life is an evolution of learning and suffering and learning. And I'm doing just that. And even though I am over a year now out of my codependent relationship, I still struggle to have real healthy relationships with real people. This is and will always be, I think, a learned skill for me. This is not something that is innate. This is not something that I learn, but this is something I'm having to teach myself. Sometimes currently healthy feels weird and different and sometimes even boring. So I'm constantly having to teach and reteach my gut innate tendencies into the healthy for me ones. I can honestly say that my gut is learning. I'm finding myself making healthier choices rather than unhealthy ones. And because of all the work that I've done in the breakdown and breakaway stages, I think. So because I can now love myself enough to take the time with myself and attribute my thoughts and feelings and actions to an unhealthy past, the riddles that I have previously found so hard to solve have a renewed sense of clarity for me. And I think that's what self-love is taking that time. And I've talked about this previously, but I've realized that I'm well worth taking the time to ask why. And that's why I've been asking why lately about sex. This hurdle has been hitting me hard for the past 6 months, and I think it's about damn time I talk about it, even though it is kind of a taboo subject. So sorry in advance if my family hears this, but most of you know this as well, and why hide it anymore? I don't think it's something that I need to hide. It's about feelings, and it's about how I love myself and an introspective view that I'm sharing with everyone. It's a real human thing. So let's talk about sex. For me, flashback to middle school. This was not when I first had sex, but it was when I first learned that I could use my femininity and my sexual energy to get attention from boys. Middle school, as it is for most adolescents, was a time of, oh, hi, Brian. Middle school, during that time, is a lot about learning about oneself, about one's community, about social and societal norms. I can definitely say that during that time and up until recently, I was defined by my accomplishments, straight A's, sports. I think I played 3 sports at the time, piano, honor society, all the extracurriculars, the things that you see on paper, all well and good. I definitely was not a girly girl. I didn't start wearing makeup until out of college, but I specifically remember telling sexual stories of my made-up sexual experiences to boys to get attention. You see, girls, now women, have these coins called beauty and sexuality. It's an exchange, and it's a song and dance that is taught from a very young age. Girls and boys turn into men and women, if you think of it like that. So these coins are oftentimes given to women and girls as, "You're so beautiful," ching, in the bank. "You look like you've lost weight," ching. "Sexy," ching, bank. "Nice butt," ching. "I love you," ching, 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 ching. So, but they can also be taken away. So, "You look like you gained weight," buy coin. "Your face looks like a pizza," buy. "Hey fatty, I hate you, you suck," buy. So years and years of this exchange, I feel like, conditioned me. It felt good to get that money in the bank, but bad when it was taken away. The good was so good that the money in the bank became my only motivation. If I can't get this money, then I'm going to go broke. If I'm nothing without this emotional money, help, not good. And what I'm learning is that I became that emotional money. This is not a new concept. We've talked about this. There have been many studies out there, but not being able to define oneself, not knowing oneself, and complete misidentification of self through and how it relates to codependency. But here's the kicker, and here's my epiphany. When my bank runs dry, when it's empty, translation, when I'm sad, lonely, depressed, I do everything in my power to fill it. I can manipulate the coin. What do I mean by manipulate the coin? Why do I need the coin? What does it have to do with sex? What does it have to do with codependency? As we've talked about here before, my definition of codependency, my translation, is a break from oneself, a break from self-love and self-worth, a break from healthy boundaries and the lack of ability to build healthy boundaries to protect yourself. In this analogy, the coin is what fills that emptiness inside of you. The emptiness you feel you're not really you. You're just in your body. For some people, it's drugs. For some, it's anger or jealousy. For others, it's alcohol. For some, it's humor. For some, it's food. For some, it's people. For me, yes, a lot, if not all of those. Briefly, your bank feels full when you get these coins, but it always needs a deposit. What I've realized is that sex can be that for me. Sex can make me feel wanted. Sex can make me feel the love that I don't feel myself, or the love that I feel like I'm not getting. Briefly, sex is my coin. That's why we're talking about sex. If you're like me, sex is that codependency coin that can fill the void. If you're not like me, substitute alcohol or food when I say sex. For me, I've tried to have sexual relationships, and despite protestations from friends to quote unquote just have fun, the wanting and desire for love that I have never received, and the love that I may not feel for myself makes it impossible for me to be flippant and objective with that type of situation. So what I've realized is some people can do that, but I can't. For me, sex and codependency are deeply intertwined. It could be that way for some of you out there as well, like I said. And here's how I knew. The build-up, the flirting, the foreplay, the act itself were blissful. Mind-numbingly blissful and beautiful. And not long after, when it was all said and done, I was deeply depressed, empty, and alone. Hear that? Empty and alone. I didn't even plan that, but empty and alone, like the bank. Then after a while, I would search for or manipulate for more coin to fill up. It finally dawned on me how unhealthy this was. In the past, I would have blamed it on the man himself. Why didn't he call me? Why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? But because of the work that we have done, I was able to take stock. I was able to be introspective and realize the why to the how, and even more on a quest to fulfill my destiny of loving myself more than anyone else would love me. To fill myself with my own self-love coin. So here I am sharing this with you. I hope this helps. Living and loving.